Tonight's reading will be on Leviticus chapter 23 on a theme of Feast of the First Fruits. And last week was the Feast of the First Fruits, April 16th to the 17th. Today is April 23rd, 22. So Leviticus 23, I've done some social media stuff on the topic. So the chapter theme, Leviticus 23, Biblical Feasts. Then Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to Bnei Israel and tell them, these are the appointed MOADIM of Adonai, which you are to proclaim to be holy convocations, my MOADIM. Work may be done for 6 days, but the seventh day is a Shabbat of solemn rest, a holy convocation. You are to do no work. It is a Shabbat to Adonai in all your dwellings." Pesach and Feast of Matzah. Verse 4. These are the appointed feasts of Adonai, holy convocations, which you are to proclaim in their appointed season. During the first month, on the 14th day of the month in the evening, is Adonai's Passover, which was last week. On the 15th day of the same month is the Feast of Matzah to Adonai. For 7 days you are to eat matzah, or the unleavened bread. On the first day you are to have a holy convocation, and you should do no regular work. Instead, you are to present an offering made by fire to Adonai for 7 days. On the seventh day is a holy convocation, when you are to do no regular work. The next chapter section theme is verse 9, Bikkurim and Shavuot. Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, "Speak to Bnei Israel and tell them, when you have come into the land which I give to you, and reap its harvest, then you are to bring the Omer on the first fruits of your harvest to the Kohen. He is to wave the Omer before Adonai to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Shabbat, the Kohen is to wave it. On the day when you wave the Omer, you are to offer a male lamb without blemish, 1 year old, as a burnt offering to Adonai. The grain offering with it should be 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour mixed with oil, an offering made by fire to Adonai for a soothing aroma. Its drink offering with it should be 1/4 of a gallon of wine. You are not to eat bread, roasted grain, or fresh grain until this same day, until you have brought the offering of your God. It is a statute forever throughout your generation in all your dwellings. Then you are to count from the morrow after the Shabbat, from the day of that you brought the Omer of the wave offering, 7 complete Shabbatot. Until the morrow after the 7th Shabbat, you are to count 50 days, and to present a new grain offering to Adonai. You are to bring out of your houses 2 loaves of bread for a wave offering, made of 2/10 of an ephah of fine flour. They are to be baked with hametz as first fruits to Adonai. You are to present along with the bread 7 one-year-old lambs without blemish, 1 young bull, and 2 rams. They will become a burnt offering to Adonai with their meal offering and their drink offering, an offering made by fire, a sweet aroma to Adonai. Also you are to offer 1 male goat for a sin offering, and a pair of year-old male lambs for a sacrifice of fellowship offerings. The Kohen is to wave them with the bread of the first fruits as a wave offering before Adonai. With the 2 lambs, they shall be holy to Adonai for the Kohen. You are to make a proclamation on the same day that there is to be a holy convocation, and you should do no regular work. This is a statute forever in all your dwelling throughout your generations. Now, when you reap the harvest of your land, you are not to reap to the furthest corners of your field or gather the gleanings of your harvest. Rather, you are to leave them for the poor and for the outsider. I am Adonai, your God. Then the next chapter section theme is fall festivals. Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Bnei Israel, saying, In the 7th month, on the first day of the month, you are to have a Shabbat rest, a memorial of blowing shofar, a holy convocation. You are to do no regular work, and you are to present an offering made by fire to Adonai. Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, However, the 10th day of this 7th month is Yom Kippur, a holy convocation to you. So you are to afflict yourselves. You are to bring an offering made by fire to Adonai. You are not to do any kind of work on that set day, for it is Yom Kippur to make atonement for you before Adonai your God. For anyone who does not deny himself on that day must be cut off from his people. Anyone who does any kind of work on that day, that the person I will destroy from among his people. You should do no kind of work. It is a statute forever throughout the generations on your dwellings. It is to be a Shabbat or a solemn rest for you. You are to humble your souls on the 9th day of the month in the evening. From evening until evening, you are to keep your Shabbat. Adonai spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Bnei Israel, and say, On the 15th day of the 7th month is the feast of Sukkot. For 7 days to Adonai. On the first day there is to be a holy convocation. You are to do no laborious work. For 7 days you are to bring an offering by fire to Adonai. The 8th day will be a holy convocation to you, and you are to bring an offering by fire to Adonai. It is a solemn assembly. You should do no laborious work. These are the MOADIM of Adonai, which you are to proclaim to be a holy convocation, to present an offering by fire to Adonai, a burnt offering, a grain offering, a sacrifice, and drink offerings, each on its own day, besides those on the Shabbat of Adonai, and besides your gifts, all your vows, and all your free will offerings which you give to Adonai. On the 15th day of the 7th month, when you have gathered in the fruits of the land, you are to keep the feast of Adonai for 7 days. The first day is to be Shabbat rest, and the 8th day will also be a Shabbat rest. On the first day you are to take choice fruit of trees, branches of palm trees, boughs of leafy trees, and willows on the brook, and rejoice before Adonai your God for 7 days. You are to celebrate it as a festival to Adonai for 7 days in the year. It is a statute forever throughout your generations. You are to celebrate it in the 7th month. You are to live in the Sukkot for 7 days. All the native born in Israel are to live in Sukkot, so that your generations may know that I had Bnei Israel to dwell in Sukkot when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. I am Adonai your God. So Moses declared to Bnei Israel the MOADIM of Adonai. Verse 44 in Leviticus 23, Biblical Feasts. Shalom,